In 2014, Ethan and his wife Danny spent a weekend on Vancouver Island, a place they had visited many times before. They were experienced campers, and the island's blend of scenic beaches and dense forests made it an ideal camping destination. However, their final outing took a terrifying turn. Ethan and Danny set up camp on a secluded beach, far from roads and civilization, and enjoyed the solitude while keeping a fire going. To reach the nearest trail, they had to walk a kilometer along the beach, and then 2 kilometers through the forest to the road. During their stay, they met another camper named Leon from New Zealand. He planned to sleep in his van parked near the road, and the couple invited him down to the beach to share a fire. They enjoyed each other's company, sharing stories and a bottle of wine. As the sun began to set, the atmosphere shifted. The trio started hearing what sounded like female voices coming from the bushes separating the beach from the forest. At first, they dismissed it, thinking it might be other hikers or campers nearby, or even voices echoing from a group anchored offshore. However, all 3 agreed they distinctly heard female voices. As darkness fell, Leon decided to leave and hike back to his car before it got too dark. Ethan and Danny remained by the fire, but Danny grew increasingly uneasy as the voices continued. They sounded like 2 women speaking, but the words were unintelligible and seemed to be coming from just beyond the tree line. They stayed up late tending to the fire, and when the voices finally ceased, they decided to extinguish the flames and retire to their tent. Before doing so, they scanned the cove with a flashlight, looking for boats that might have been the source of the voices, but saw nothing. Around 3 a.m., as they finally settled down to sleep, they heard footsteps near their campsite, coming from the direction of the bushes behind them. The area was not passable for people, and the couple lay still, hoping it was just a bear or another animal. The footsteps moved from the fire to the tent and then back into the woods. 5 minutes later, the footsteps returned, and this time the voices were clear. 2 female voices were speaking loudly, but their words sounded like gibberish. They seemed to be having an animated conversation, oblivious to the couple in the tent. The voices approached the tent, hovered above it for a few moments, and then fell silent. They retreated into the woods, never to be heard again. Ethan and Danny lay frozen in fear for a long time. They finally woke up around 11 a.m., realizing how late it was. They quickly packed up and left, never to return to that campsite. The following images were taken by hikers Kylie Cashwell and John Stone, residents of Eagle Mountain, Utah. For years, they explored various forests in search of interesting discoveries, and one day, they stumbled upon something unusual. While hiking in Cedar Fort, just 5 miles south of Salt Lake City, Kylie found large piles of animal bones and discarded junk. Things took a strange turn when she began to encounter bizarre symbols and animal parts arranged in odd formations throughout the forest. On September 15th, she decided to bring her friend Josh to show him these peculiar findings. This time, they discovered something even more disturbing: a severed deer head and a pentagram surrounded by deer legs, which had not been present during Kylie's previous visit. As the sun began to set, they took pictures and agreed it was time to head back. However, they soon realized they were lost and could not recognize the path they were on. As darkness enveloped the forest, they began to feel as though they were being watched. Picking up their pace, they heard rustling in the trees and bushes around them. Panic set in, and they hurried onto a trail they hoped would lead them back to Kylie's car. Just when they thought things couldn't get worse, they heard a deep, horrific scream that sounded neither human nor animal. Kylie sprinted down the trail, determined not to look back, but Josh did. He claimed to see a large black figure behind them, too big to be human. By sheer luck, they reached Kylie's car and escaped whatever had been pursuing them. They left the forest and went straight home. Later, Kylie discovered reports of cult practices and numerous murders and disappearances in the area they had explored. Like Ethan and Danny, Kylie has not returned since that day. In another unsettling tale, two friends hiking in northern Germany came across strange periscope-like pipes protruding from the ground. Feeling either brave or foolish, they decided to investigate further and discovered a doorway hidden behind bushes, covered by a large wooden lid. What they found beneath the surface was a disturbing piece of history: a massive, abandoned army bunker. Inside, they encountered several tunnels branching off from a long central corridor, making exploration feel like navigating a maze. As they ventured deeper, they found German writing on the walls, one message reading, "Help." Despite their unease, they continued, and the decay of the structure increased. They stumbled upon more writings, including one that said, "Hello, Satan, I love you." Some rooms were flooded and smelled of sewage. In a large room at the center of the bunker, they discovered a strange machine. It appeared the previous occupants had fled in a hurry, as one shoe remained stuck in the sludge on the floor, suggesting a hasty exit. The bunker was believed to have been used by the Nazis during World War II, but the reasons for the apparent abandonment and the meaning behind the messages on the walls remain a mystery. Lastly, we have a story about a man referred to as Just Bill. An avid hiker, Bill visited his brother in upstate New York near Downsville in 2016. During a late fall hike on a narrow trail near his brother's house, Bill stumbled upon a relatively new duffel bag lying in the woods. It didn't appear dirty, but a foul odor emanated from it, suggesting something rotting inside. Assuming the worst, Bill knew he had to open the bag, but just as he was gathering the courage, he heard footsteps approaching. A large man in a dirty jacket and jeans emerged from the woods, claiming the bag was his, and asking Bill not to touch it. The man explained that he was storing a kill from his hunt in the bag, but Bill, who wasn't a hunter, found this explanation suspicious. He knew hunters typically use coolers to store fresh kills, not duffel bags. The smell also suggested something more sinister, as dead bodies usually take time to start decomposing. Apologizing, Bill hurried down the trail. He could sense the man's gaze on him, and soon he heard leaves crunching behind him. When he looked back, the man had disappeared. Bill picked up his pace, but the sound of footsteps followed him, confirming his worst fears. He was being stalked. When he reached an abandoned property with overgrown grass, he was too winded to keep running. He entered the dilapidated house through the back door and hid under a cot in the first bedroom he found. He heard heavy footsteps moving through the house, along with the man's labored breathing. The man briefly entered the bedroom but didn't check under the cots. After what felt like an eternity, Bill heard the back door slam shut. He waited another half hour before emerging, realizing it would soon be dark. He fled down a dirt trail that led to a road, where he eventually managed to hitch a ride back to his brother's house. Once there, he reported his encounter to the local police. Though the contents of the duffel bag were never confirmed, the foul odor was a clear indication of something dreadful. The man's desperate chase suggested he was hiding something that he didn't want anyone to witness, most likely a body.